In 2005, the bar for first-person shooters was as high as ever after the phenomenal previous year, featuring groundbreaking titles such as Far Cry, Doom 3 and Half-Life 2. Amidst this fierce competition, a new challenger has arisen. A game called F.E.A.R. was developed by Monolith Productions and released in October 2005. It was poised as a serious competitor for the FPS throne. 18 years later, it's still remembered by many as the game that maybe wasn't able to change the landscape of the genre, but left its mark for sure. F.E.A.R. was presenting a thrilling combination of fast-paced action, atmospheric psychological horror, and stunning visuals. The story of the game revolves around an elite army unit, First Encounter Assault Recon, or F.E.A.R. for short. As a part of this unit, you are tasked to eliminate Paxton Fettel, a powerful psychic who has gone rogue. Fettel possesses dangerous telepathic abilities and controls the army of cloned soldiers. The enemy soldiers' AI is one of the most remarkable aspects of the game. F.E.A.R. introduced a level of enemy intelligence that was never seen before in FPS games. The enemy soldiers in F.E.A.R. exhibited advanced behaviors such as squad-based tactics, strategic flanking maneuvers, and dynamic decision-making. They would communicate with each other, take covers, and coordinate attacks, creating a challenging and realistic combat experience. This approach helped to make every encounter unpredictable. Unfortunately, there were some flaws as well, the most notable one being the cover system. Occasionally, when the enemies attempted to hide from the player behind the corner, it was possible to still see parts of their character models, making them vulnerable to being shot. The core gameplay element is reflex time, an ability that allows a player to slow down the perception of time, giving a distinct advantage in combat situations. It is extremely helpful facing large groups of enemies, as it allows a player to effectively strategize, take precise shots, and dodge incoming projectiles. It remains one of the standout features of the game, setting it apart from any other shooter of its time. The overall gameplay in F.E.A.R. is enjoyable and action-packed, although it can become repetitive at times. Throughout the game, you alternate between engaging in combat and experiencing horror sequences devoid of any action. Additionally, you may notice a lack of diversity in enemy types. Aside from usual soldiers, there are also special enemies which are unfortunately nothing more than glorified bullet sponges. Visually, F.E.A.R. was one of the best games at its time, powered with the Jupiter X engine, and it still looks very decent even by today's standards. When the game was released, it was very demanding on the hardware, challenging even high-end systems. Of course, today this problem is no longer present, and thankfully there are no compatibility issues either, except just one. Shortly after you start the game, you can get a permanent drop to 20 FPS, though it can be easily solved with direct input FPS fix without alternating any game files. F.E.A.R. employed the Havoc physics engine for its physics model, receiving significant acclaim, although not without encountering a few issues. There were instances where enemy soldier models exhibited erratic behavior, launching into the air after being shot during reflex time. Additionally, players sometimes experienced their character's model becoming trapped indoors at certain points in the game. F.E.A.R., originally released as a PC exclusive, was later ported to Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 platforms. While Xbox 360 received a high-quality port of the game, unfortunately the same couldn't be said for the PlayStation version. The PlayStation port of F.E.A.R. suffered from downgraded graphics, frame rate issues, and long loading times, which ultimately made it an inferior version compared to both the Xbox 360 and PC releases. After the initial release, the game received two expansion packs, Extraction Point in 2006 and Perseus Mandate in 2007. These expansions continued the story and provided additional content. However, 2 years later, a sequel titled F.E.A.R 2 Project Origin was released, which disregarded the event of the expansion packs and continued the narrative from the original game. In 2011, a third main installment titled F.E.A.R 3 was released. Unfortunately, this entry in the series faced disappointing sales and quality concerns. It marked the last F.E.A.R game to date, as no further mainline titles have been released since then. F.E.A.R is the kind of game that you are unlikely to ever forget if you have played it on its initial release. It has been able to stand the test of time and can be played with great enjoyment after all these years. If you are looking for some exciting action mixed with a horror atmosphere, F.E.A.R will provide plenty of entertainment that is sure to leave a lasting impression.